Hello everyone. In this session, we will see how can we extract the data from a folder in Power BI. Now, this folder can contain multiple CSV files or multiple Excel files. So we will look at how can we take these multiple files and append them one by one. So first, for that, I'll show you what are the files that we have right now and what are the different kind of ways in which you can merge those files. So over here, I have made one folder in which I have the files by the name of January, February, and March, and they consist of the sales data of some companies. Now, in another folder, I have this Excel files, and these are the same kind of files basically in a different format. They also contain January, February, and March sales data for some companies. I'll show you in the form of Excel file. So in this, I have three columns. The first column is of date, the second is of client, and the third is of sales in millions. So these are some imaginary companies, and this is some data. Now, let's say if I want to import these files in a from CSV format in Power BI, how can I do it? So first of all, I will go in the report option, and over here I will choose get data option. And remember, you don't have to choose this Excel workbook option or any text or CSV file because these all files are in a folder. So for that, you have to go in more option and then you will choose the folder option and choose connect. Now it would ask you for the location of that particular folder which we want to combine. So first we will take a look at how can we combine the CSV files and then we will see how we'll be combining the Excel files. Now the steps to combine both CSV file and Excel file are different, and in the Excel file, there are some additional steps that we need to perform in order to combine those files. So I will choose browse, and here I will give the location of desktop and my datasets location. So first we'll be going with the CSV files. After you have loaded it, it would show you the metadata about your file. So it would show you all the files that are in that particular folder, when they were created, and what is the exact location of that particular file, and maybe the size of that file also. So over here, you can see it is giving me all the information related to that particular file, which is basically the metadata of particular file. So here I'll choose the option of combine and transform. So if you click on combine, you will get these two options. The first one is of combine and transform data. The second one is of combine and load data. So here, if you choose combine and transform data, it would open the Power Query editor and there you would be able to edit your data. It is evaluating that particular files and it is trying to combine those. Now it would show you the preview of all the files. So here I am having this preview of the first file, and in the similar way, it is showing me the preview of individual files also. So here you can choose the individual files and you can see the preview. So here I will choose OK for now. And this has opened the Power Query editor in background. So I will choose Power Query editor and it has transformed the data for you. You don't need to do anything right now. So one thing to notice about Power Query editor is that whatever steps you will be doing in transforming your data would be recorded over here on the right hand side in applied steps. So all these things I haven't done anything. I have just chose the option of combine and transform the data, and it has applied some steps on the top of our data to combine it and transform it for use. So all these steps are recorded over here. Now let's say if you just want to remove this source name column and you just want to keep this date, client information, and sales in million column. You can come over here in the source name option, and over here you can choose the remove column options. Now, since we removed one column and it has added an additional step, so this step would be noted over here in the removed columns. So it has came over here. Now, what I need to do is I can just arrange this data in a ascending order. So for that, what I can do is I can click on this arrow and I can choose this sort at ascending option. Now it has sorted the data for us. After your data has been sorted, you can click over here in close and apply option, and it would load your data over there in the report view. And now you will be having your data on the left hand side and you will be showing all the columns over there. Now this part can take some time, depends on the processing speed of your system. As soon as the data would be loaded, all the information related to that particular data set would be shown over here in the data, and the columns would reflect over here. So we can see it is still trying to process that information. And now I have these CSV files. So over here, what I can do is I can click on this more option and I can rename this and I can give the name as sales data. And if you click on this option to maximize what are the items that are present in this particular table, it would show you the information of the columns that it has. The first one is the client, the second is the date, the third one is the sales in millions. So I will click on them one by one. So if I click on client and if I click on sales in million, you can see all the data has now been processed. Now you can also click on date and see whether it has loaded all the dates or not. because we were having three files. The first one was for the January, the second one was for February, and the third one was for March. So you can see over here, it is showing me all these months separately. January, February, and March for every of my client. So that means it has loaded that particular CSV file. Now, in the next part, we will see how can we load the Excel files. So over here, what I can do is I can just remove this particular data from over here. To remove this data, you need to click on this more options, and then you can choose the delete from model option. As soon as you do it, this particular visual that you created would also become invalid because it was consisting of that particular data. So now you can select it and you can delete this visual as well. Now again, go in the get data option, choose the more option, and then folder option. Connect the folder, give the path of that particular folder. So my path is on the desktop, Power BI datasets, and I have this Excel files. So I will click on OK, and again I will click on OK. Now the steps to combine the Excel files are a bit different. So for that, what you need to do is you need to click on this transform data, and it would open the Power Query editor for you. Over here, you can see the things that were showing in CSV file were different than it is showing in the Excel file. This is because it has encrypted our data in this particular column known as content, and it is storing that data in this particular column. So if I come over here and click on this first row, it consists of my February data. The second one consists of January data. The third one consists of the March data. You can see the name over here also. Whatever steps you will be performing would be shown over here in the applied steps option. So I think I made a mistake. So what I'll do is I'll just roll back the steps. So to roll back any steps, what you can do is in the front of step, there would be a cross sign. You can click over here and it would undo the step for you. Now I need this content column and the name column. Apart from this, I don't have any much necessity of the other columns, which consists the metadata of my particular file. So I will select these two columns and I will do right click and I will choose remove other columns option. Now we need to extract our data from this particular column, which is contents. So for that, what you can do is you can go in the add columns option, and over here you can use this option of custom columns. After you choose custom columns, we have to provide a M code. This M code would be used to basically extract the data from the content column. So for that, I can write the M code of Excel workbooks. So over here, if I select Excel dot workbook, it is giving me the option of Excel workbook. So over here, I'll come and I'll press tab. Now remember, the E in Excel and the W in workbook are capital. After you have selected this, what you need to do is you need to put bracket, and inside of the bracket, you need to put this content column. So you can come over in the content column and you can do double click. After you have done double click, you can press OK. Now it would try to extract all the information present inside that particular column. So you can see it has created a custom column and it has identified that this particular file consists of a table. So you can come over here in this particular icon where this double arrow is showing and you can click on that. Now, after you have clicked on it, it will try to show you all the information that is present inside that column. So for now, I'm not thinking much. I'm just pressing OK so that it can make multiple other columns for me and the information can then be viewed by me. So now I have multiple columns with me. Now, a thing to note over here is that each particular file consists of a sheet and table. If you look closely in this custom.kind column, which has now been extracted for that particular custom column, I have the sheet and table with me. Now, I only need the tables from each of my Excel file. So I can go over here in this arrow and I can choose only table, uncheck this sheet, and I can click on OK so I can view all the tables that are present in my files. After that, what I need to do is I need to extract the data out of that particular table. So for that, I will use the column of this custom.data. So apart from this custom.data, name of the column and the content column, I can remove other columns. So for that, I will select these three columns and I will do right click and I will choose remove other columns option. After you have done that, you need to again click on this double arrow and it would then load all the columns that were present inside that table. So I know my table consists of three columns, date, client, and sales in million. So I'll be using these and I can click on OK. But a thing to note over here is that it is showing me one option that use original column names as prefix. If I have this option checked right now, what would happen? And if I have this option unchecked, what would happen? We'll see a difference. First, I have kept this option as checked and I will click on OK. So you can see right now my data has been extracted from that table. But the name that I am getting right now is custom.data.client, custom.data.sales in William. This is not correct because I want the name of the column as date, client, and sales in million. So to do that, what I will do is I will just quickly roll back. So I will remove this step and I will again go in this custom.data column and I will click on this double arrow. And this time I'm unchecking this option and I will click on OK then. Now the new names that I'm getting is the date, client, and the sales in million. So now what you can do is you can directly go over here in the home option and you can click on close and apply and it would load all the data for you. So this was the way in which you can load any CSV file and combine it, and you can load a Excel file and combine it. Remember that the steps for loading both these files are very different. In Excel file, you have to do some additional steps, whereas in the CSV file, the options were pretty straightforward to combine. So my file has been loaded right now. Again, I can click on these three dots and I can choose rename option and I can give the name as sales data. Now, if you click on this arrow and you can see what are the columns that are present inside that particular table. So I have client, date, name, and sales in million. So I will choose this client option and then I will choose this sales in million option. And it is showing the data to you. Now you can again click on this date option to verify if all the particular months have been imported or not. And as we can see, the dates are pretty clear over here. It is showing me the date of January, February, and March as well. So that means our data has been loaded and combined correctly. So this was all for this session. In the next session, we will be looking at how we can load the data from MySQL and the other connectors as well.